Hey guys, so as many of you might know, I am doing a graphic novel, and today I thought it would be really fun to work on something to kind of help myself as I go through my graphic novel. It takes place on a pier, and I made this map for myself, but I thought it'd be really fun to use all my reference and stuff. I have a ton of reference of like piers and all kinds of stuff. It mostly takes place in the video store. I thought it'd be really neat to make some super cool like 3D models for myself to kind of help myself as maybe I'm drawing perspective and stuff. So I am going to do a time lapse of me building this model. I'm going to use crescent board, and I have a bunch of scraps from boards that I've been using. Today I'm going to focus mostly on maybe doing the actual video store, the ice cream parlor, and the arcade, maybe even the mini golf place, because the reference I have for it, and I want to say it's Wildwood, but I could be incorrect. I know I have it somewhere. Hold on. I love reference because it just makes my mind go crazy. I love color, all kinds of stuff. I have a bunch of reference too, because that takes place in the 90s. So I have a bunch of reference from the 90s, including my favorite Luke Perry, who I miss dearly. He was such a great actor, especially on Riverdale, but I'm digressing. I cannot find this picture that I'm looking for, but I will find it, and I'm going to really enjoy. Oh, it's right in front of me, guys. Seriously, come on, look at this. Look at how cool that is. So I want to do some kind of like a mini golf place that looks kind of like that. So I'm just going to basically be using this to kind of give myself ideas. And when I do it, I might make it look very much like pencil-y and graphic novel-y. And just to give you a little sneak peek here, which I know some of you, if you follow me on Instagram, you probably have seen it, but this is just a little tiny snippet. I'm really exciting. It's the Pembroke Point Pier, and this is the boardwalk. This is why I need something to kind of help me with perspective, because this perspective is not correct, but it's just a sketch anyway, so it's okay. I kind of know what I need to do. And yeah, so since it primarily takes place in a video store, I thought it'd be really neat to actually have like the video store all set up for me, and I might even do some fake little movies. So let's see what we can do. Hey, future Kimber here. I realize a lot of this might be boring, and because I noticed as I was cutting the footage, I'm like, oh my god, it's basically me just like cutting board. But it kind of does end up looking really cool, especially in the end when everything gets put together. And what really bums me out is I remember when I was making that awning that you're seeing. Oh, it was so cool, and I guess the camera must have died as I was recording it, so I missed that whole part of putting together that awning and that fake Blockbuster video sign. It's not really Blockbuster, but it is based on a video store. A little fun fact, when I was a kid, my grandmother actually owned a video store, which is a huge part of the inspiration, aside from being just like a nostalgic person. I mean, I really miss the era that I grew up in, and I wish things were similar, but we are living in a very different world these days. So anyway, again, I'm sorry, a lot of this is just me cutting, but I tried to put together the things I thought were more interesting. Like here I'm making the ice cream shop, the window, and I actually had a whole other huge amount of footage because I have done this twice. The first time I did it, I realized I did the window entirely too large. It looked like as if a person coming from the video store would walk over to the ice cream shop, and it was like they were like two completely different worlds. So this is the second footage of me actually building the correct size. So I didn't want to bore you with seeing it twice. I mean, it's already kind of boring. You're just watching me cut, but it does really come together in the end, and I'm pretty happy with where I am so far. I'm really looking forward to getting to painting all of it and adding more buildings. I
think it'll be really neat. It's very hard for me to record myself because I'm constantly thinking, is what I'm doing interesting? Obviously I can edit it, but sometimes I get so lost in the project, I almost forget that I'm recording, and either if I'm recording and then the film runs out or the camera battery dies or something, then I'm like, oh crap, I just missed all the cool parts because the battery died or whatever. So some of this I might not record in the future just because I feel like it puts me under a little bit of pressure, and then I don't do my best work either because then I'm constantly thinking or overthinking things. So I don't know, we'll see. But for now, here's the beginning of what I think is going to be a really helpful tool for me in the future. I'm super stoked about this comic book. It's really a graphic novel. It's broken up into a bunch of little chapters, and I'm looking forward to getting it all on paper so that way I can Kickstarter it and hopefully get it printed by next year. My goals were to have it done this year, but there's so many things happening in the world right now that it's not really priority. Between that and my children's book, I'll have something coming. So I'm really excited about it, and I hope you guys find some inspiration, maybe to do stuff of your own. Maybe you want to try model building. It's actually a lot more fun than I remembered, and I think it's because of the board that I'm using. It's a little more heavy duty, and when I used to try to build things out of paper, it would kind of fall apart, obviously, because paper is very thin. So depending on what you're using, it's going to be sturdier if you're using crescent board. So
So here's the model so far. I have my ice cream shop, my video village, and the arcade. I'm literally doing this just to give myself some perspective, because when I want to draw, sometimes I have a hard time with perspective. So the cool thing is I'll be able to look at this from different angles. I can probably even take a picture for myself. And what I'm going to be doing next is I have a couple more buildings I want to put together. And the cool thing is these actually come apart. Like, I'm doing it where they can kind of fit together in a piece, but then I can break it down and put it away so it's not constantly in this huge like pile, and I don't know necessarily where to store it. So that's why I'm building it in pieces. And then the other thing is, as I go through this, I'm gonna build things for the inside, like the skee ball machines that sit right here. There's a counter for games. I'll probably do a couple old school arcade cabinets, and then especially in the video store, there's going to be tons of videotapes, like shelves of videotapes on them. And there's actually a point in the story where it's really important to note there's a storage closet through the video store here. So I'm gonna kind of convert the ice cream shop, make it a little smaller. I'm gonna put some stuff in there too, maybe some ice cream machines. Maybe I'll put a person in there just for fun. For funsies. But yeah, it's a very crude model right now, obviously, and it's really just for me anyway. And then eventually I might paint it because I just think it'll be fun, but that'll be another video because they have to break it down, and that's kind of another reason these are all put together, pieces like this, because then I can paint them much easier. And if I decide, I might even not glue down all the little things I'm going to do for inside the shops until I paint them, because then that way it makes it easier for me to paint.
Hey, future Kimber again. So here's something I wanted to point out. What I was doing here was scoring, because what I'm planning on doing is making another type of awning for the front of the mini golf place, which is what I did with the other awning. I just basically did a bunch of scoring and then created a curve on each side so that when I laid the scored awning down, I could have it curve to the piece that I cut out. And that's basically how I did it. I was thinking this was going to be more of a tutorial, and because of the way that the footage was cut and how boring I thought it was, missing pieces, I just kind of felt like maybe it's just better as visually stimulating. I don't know. Here's more scoring of those poles too. So that's where we're going to come to a close for now. I will get back to this very soon. In the meantime, I will see you back at the drawing board.